Welcome to the 3x5 news, views, and reviews scribbled on index cards. We get in and get out fast, so keep up. This week in Trump. In a new book, the legendary journalist Bob Woodward revealed that after he left office, Trump spoke to Putin 7 times. It's just so effed up. It has rendered me speechless. Well, almost. In a sane world, it would be this presidential election's October surprise, as they call it. Think Robert Comey releasing Hillary Clinton's emails. Perhaps it would be if it were better sourced. But even if it were, with Trump voters so hidebound, it probably wouldn't move the needle. Meanwhile, one excerpt from the book unearths something of value to Kamala that not many people know. The experience in foreign affairs that she gained after Russia invaded Ukraine. First, it was she who informed a disbelieving Ukraine President Zelensky that U.S. intelligence revealed Russia was about to invade. She also urged him to install a succession plan in the event that he was killed or captured. Along with subsequent meetings with Zelensky, Kamala accused Russia of crimes against humanity, calling it barbaric, the invasion barbaric. Contrast that with how, in roughly the same time frame, Trump was chatting with Putin on the phone, likely promising him that if Trump were president, Putin could keep Crimea and lands in eastern Ukraine that Russia had occupied. The United States was just as responsible for the Cold War as the then Soviet Union, and totally responsible for the Red Scare and red baiting of the '50s. But sometimes I can't but wonder, where is Senator Joe McCarthy when we need him? Kidding. Sort of. Anyway, between Trump and Kamala, it's pretty obvious who is stronger on national security. Trump said, Joe Biden became mentally impaired. That's a quote. Kamala was born that way. She was born that way. And if you think about it, only a mentally disabled person could have allowed this to happen to our country. Kettle calling the pot black, the name is Trump, also known as projection. Presumably, he was lumping Biden and Harris together. As for the phrase mentally disabled, it is seldom used today. In the United States, it can be used to describe one's intellect or one's mental health. In Britain, just mental health. Presumably, Trump meant developmentally disabled, but he is so ignorant that the term did not come readily to mind. As most of us know by now, turning the phrase developmentally disabled into an insult is usually insulting to those who are actually developmentally disabled. It couldn't have happened. It didn't happen. That's another quote. Trump, quote, said of the woman who accused him of assaulting her on an airplane and with another of his assault victims made a commercial. As he has said, she would not have been... he also said, and she would not have been the chosen one. That's a quote. First, that's an admission that he assaults women if he finds them attractive. Second, he's making it sound like they should be grateful to be the target of someone as godlike as he. I'd call him skeevy, but that doesn't do justice to one who has committed multiple actual sex crimes like him. Everybody thinks Trump and Melania aren't on speaking terms. But somehow, albeit 6 years apart, they coordinated one message. In 2018, Melania confused and upset many when she visited a border detention center while wearing a jacket emblazoned with the message, I really don't care, do you? Do you remember that stellar moment? In special counsel Jack Smith's new court filing on the January 6th case, it was revealed that when told that Vice President Pence was endangered in the Capitol, Trump said, so what? That neatly sums up both of them. They care about nothing but themselves and their own little worlds. He also suffers from, as I saw described somewhere, a, quote, fundamental lack of interest in policy, unquote. Might I remind Trump voters, there is a nation to be run and not into the ground. What Trump does care about is revenge prosecutions. Politico's Ankush Kardori states the obvious, quote, even if you don't get convicted, being investigated and prosecuted in a complex case can be extremely stressful, not to mention expensive, unquote. In other words, quote again, even if the effort failed to produce any real convictions, the process itself would be a form of punishment for the targets, unquote. Just another zone of destruction that another Trump presidency would install. There has been much controversy about fact-checking in the debates. M. Gesson wrote in the Times, quote, when you place lies and facts on an even footing, it basically creates a political sphere in which there's no fact-based reality. That's a pre-totalitarian condition. To repeat, a pre-totalitarian condition. Gesson should know. They're from Russia. My view, I can't even believe this has actually been a controversy among serious journalists of all stripes. The bottom line is, a network needs to preserve the integrity of its product. Letting Trump and Vance fly off into MAGA's bizarre world alternate universe reduces a network to the level of Newsmax or Alex Jones InfoWars. Aside to Alex Jones, what did you think would happen when you started making claims that this Sandy Hook mass shooting was staged? Excuse me. Let's give the last word on Trump this week to the Times' Michelle Goldberg. Life under Trump's presidency often felt like being trapped in an abusive relationship with its need to be hyper-vigilant about the patriarch's mercurial moods. From your words to God's mouth. From God's word. Never mind. If there is a God in heaven, speaking of God, we will only have to run This Week in Trump for another month. Stray thought. The silver lining for bitter old men who succumb to resentments and become Trump supporters is that by indulging in revanchist, I always wanted to say that word, its meaning follows, fantasies, they keep their minds simmering or on full boil, thus staving off dementia. Though, if I'm being honest, as they say today, it would be preferable to the nation as a whole if these old men succumbed to dementia and were unable to vote. Okay. As for revanchism, it means, quote, the act of retaliating, especially by a nation or group to regain lost territory or standing, unquote. You can see why the concept is so timely today. Finally, you know how so-called undecided voters say they don't know Kamala is well enough yet? That's just embarrassing. What it really means is they are too lazy to Google her platform, or they have absolutely no sense of civic responsibility that would impel them to do so. More likely, their idea of research is confined to something they do before they make a major purchase. See you next time.